excuse all of the electronic cords running beside me. Just pretend that that's my aesthetic. It's sort of my aesthetic. I'm very disorganised and nothing was charged when I went to film this morning. That's my laptop. So if you see me looking down, it's because I have impaired cognitive function from brain fog and my light is not on my face. It's probably going to fall on my face. You might even be able to see it in frame. Who cares? We're running this show. So this is my first video back for 2016. Whoops, the daisies. I checked our YouTube channel this morning and it turns out that we just hit 96 followers, which is the coolest thing ever. I am so jazzed. Like, this has made my otherwise painful and dull and boring and depressing morning just literally the coolest thing. Thank you guys so much for following us and staying in touch and just being our loyal friends while we were on a bit of hiatus. I've been wanting to upload videos since about February, but my health and body has disagreed with me violently. I think a lot of you will understand what I'm saying by this. I've been wanting to do a lot of things that my body has decided is not necessarily something I'm going to be able to do. But this morning, my pain's been pretty well controlled by my pain medication, so I decided to get up and write a video and set up my lights, which are very high tech, and they're making perspiration drip into my eyeballs, and charge up my camera and see how far we got. So far, I mean, I put on makeup for this video, so we got pretty far. I wanted to make a video. This is going to be a bit more upbeat than usual because I wanted to make a video that basically just introduces me to all of our new friends and talks about my illness and talks about kind of like my little corner of the world and sort of opens up the line of communication for you guys to talk about you and talk about your illnesses and maybe your friends with illnesses or your experiences and just talk about your little corner of the world too. So if you want to do that, please do that. I would love for you to do that. I'm going to leave like a rough outline of the questions that I answered in the doobly-doo, and you can either reply in the comments, you can go to our Facebook page, you can hit us up on Twitter, or you can even send us an inbox on Facebook. We do reply. We reply slowly because we have no spoons, but we do reply, I promise. Found these questions. Some of these questions I found online and some are just ones that people ask me all the time, so I thought it was good to kind of like get them all out in one video, and I guess it's kind of a video that we can all relate to and share with people too to answer the questions. See, brain fog. And just a side note in case you didn't know, closed captions are available on all of our videos, like you just have to turn them on in the clicky. So our first question is, who are you, what do you have, and how has it affected you? So really, that's 3 questions. I've already failed. So I'm Kate, I'm 22, I live in South Australia in a semi-rural town, and I have something to add before that. I'm studying veterinary nursing, which might be important if I say that now for points I'm making later on down the track. So I am studying veterinary nursing via correspondence learning online and doing placement in veterinary clinics. So if you have a veterinary clinic and you want an awesome vet nurse for free, who has insurance and has been trained, hit me up. So I have endometriosis, fibromyalgia, asthma, interstitial cystitis, hypothyroidism, anxiety disorder, panic disorder, major depressive disorder, hyperflexible joints, idiopathic, probably linked to fibromyalgia edema. That last one's not really a chronic illness, but it hurts. So my illnesses affect my life a great deal. Yeah, I know, who'd have thunk? It's kind of getting worse this year, as you might have picked up by the big absence on social media and YouTube and in life in general if you know me at all. Sometimes I'm okay. I will have little to no pain. Really, I've got the hiccups. I will rarely have no pain. I have pain that I just don't mention because it's not worth it. And then sometimes, like this week, I will just be stuck in bed for a few weeks straight and there's nothing that I can really do about it. I just have to rest. And when I say stuck in bed, it's not like, oh, I don't feel well enough to get up. It's like, literally, cannot function. Good night. So with fibromyalgia, I don't get a lot of restorative sleep, and I think it's the same for most pain disorders. So we sleep, but we don't go into the phase of sleep where our body and muscle and whatever tissues, I'm not a doctor, restore themselves. So any damage that's done during the day and wear and tear and stuff doesn't always repair itself like it does in other people. So I can sometimes sleep for, I mean, I do get the lucky night where I do get a lot of restorative sleep and I might sleep for like 2 hours and wake up feeling awesome, but I can also sleep for 24 hours and feel like I haven't gone to bed at all. So aside from fatigue and pain, which I'm sure we will cover in so many videos, and I'm sure we've already covered in so many videos, I also have a lot of trouble with friends, family and strangers who smoke near me or in places that I go. My asthma is severely reactive to cigarette smoke to the point that it can cause me to just pass out from lack of oxygen to the brain or whatever. And I have done in the past. And it's not fun. It doesn't take a lot of cigarette smoke to trigger my asthma. Literally just a tiny bit in the breeze. It's the same for perfume or incense or perfume sprays or like, you know the smelly sprays that you spray in your house? If you spray one of those in my face, I'll have an asthma attack. When it comes to friends and family smoking around me, I struggled for a long time that their addiction to smoking was often more important to them than my ability to breathe. And I struggled with feelings of rejection and isolation and feeling like my family and friends didn't want me or care about me. And that went on for probably like a year or two. And it wasn't just at these events. Like, I would feel that way pretty much whenever I thought about it. I would spend days in bed crying because I felt so rejected by these people. It is a building block and has made me into a stronger person now, but I had a long way to go through the pain and through feeling like I really had. I went from having this big circle of people I felt supported me down to like 2 people or 3 people who hadn't rejected me so much. So during my diagnosis, I was attending university and I'd already been going for a few months. And basically it was so painful that I had to stop going and I started failing out of my courses and eventually dropped out because it was just too painful for me to go, which then really sucked and upset me. But now is a good thing because it led to vet nursing, which in my heart was what I was supposed to be doing this whole time. Last year I lost my job for similar reasons, but mostly I lost my job because I was severely bullied at work due to my illnesses. So this is basically discrimination. The bullying led me to have a really severe mental breakdown, a nervous breakdown, whatever you want to call it, and I was no longer able to work. So the second question is, what happened when you were diagnosed, or how were you diagnosed? So with endometriosis, I was diagnosed about 10 years after my symptoms first started, which is pretty typical for women who have endometriosis. To me, looking back, those symptoms were really obvious. And it makes me really angry that my primary care doctors as a young teenager, a young woman, basically didn't investigate this pain that I was reporting further and didn't find that I had endometriosis. Instead of that, they just told me that pain was normal. Now, we all have heard that line. But it infuriates me that I probably wouldn't be where I am today had they done their jobs. And I don't think people who take the easy way out and tell me that pain is normal, instead of investigating the root of the pain, should be trusted to be the primary care physicians of children or adults. I think they should lose their licenses. Okay, well, we had a weird problem where I was talking to the camera and it wasn't switched on. Let's continue. So, when I was 19, I developed a niggling pain on the right lower side of my abdomen, which was kind of in my appendix area, but not really. And it was kind of like a little stabbing pain that was there constantly, and it would get worse when I moved and better when I lay flat on the floor and didn't breathe properly. And I ignored it for a very long time. I was just starting uni and it was quite easy to just pretend that life was okay and I didn't need to go to a doctor, even though I did need to go to a doctor and it wasn't okay. And after about 2 months of ignoring this pain, one day I woke up and it had erupted into this intolerable, very, very persistent pelvic pain that I just couldn't live with and it would never go away. I had absolutely no money and I couldn't go see a specialist because they're about $300 a visit when you don't have money or private healthcare cover in this country. Not something you can afford. So I went to see the city's kind of like free clinic, I guess what would be called in America. It's like a gynecologist. It's like a free gynecologist and an STD clinic in the city. And because I specialise in STDs, they immediately assumed that's what I had, even though I had no markers for it. So I had a STD panel which tests you for all known STDs, and it tests if you've had them in the past or whether you have them now, and it tests your white blood cell count and inflammation factors. So I had pretty much no inflammation factors and normal white blood cells and no history of any STDs and no present STDs. So they immediately said to me that I had a type of chlamydia that no one's ever had detected before, even though I'd had no histories of STDs and no markers of STDs, and that it had, or no symptoms of STDs, and that it had turned into pelvic inflammatory disease, which is where it travels into the uterus and inflames the uterus, even though I had no inflammatory markers. And they would treat it with a course of antibiotics and I'd be done and dusted, which was not true, and it never went away and it never will go away. And basically I put up with this pain and it caused me to drop out of uni because I wasn't able to attend my courses or my lectures or my tutorials or do any of my assignments. So a few months on from seeing the a few months on from going to the free clinic that thought I had a new strain of chlamydia that had never been seen before, I'd been seen by many a GP who had no idea what was going on. I went in to see another GP who had a special interest in women's health, I guess, and I sort of walked in with this, yeah, she's not going to find anything because nobody else has. I must be an alien or harbouring a new type of disease, or I don't know, pain is normal for me now. And she kind of had this look in her eye where, I don't know, she kind of already assumed she knew what was wrong with me, which to me at the time was not a good thing. Because to me at the time that kind of meant, oh great, she thinks I'm a drug seeker, which obviously I wasn't. And she took my history and she did an exam and she said, look, everything they've told you is wrong with you is absolute crap. I think you have endometriosis. Which was the first time I'd ever heard the word endometriosis, which is ridiculous because 1 in 10 women have it. Like, come on. 1 in 10 women have it, and it was the first doctor in like 30 female doctors to even, and some male ones of course, to even like know what it was. You know your body best, and if your GP is not up to the task, find a doctor who's actually willing to fight for you, because they are out there. A lot of doctors will just pawn you off on the easiest answer possible, and if that doesn't feel right to you, find someone who's got half a brain in their heads. Well, that's not fair. They probably have half a brain in their heads. Find someone who cares and fight for yourself, because you're your best advocate. Hi guys, so obviously I am filming this after I finished filming the official video, which ran for 25 minutes, so I decided to split it into 2 parts, and I'll release the second part a little bit later on. So this is the end to part 1, which part 2 is way more interesting. And I just wanted to say, don't forget to click like and go find us on social media and share your story with us, please, 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 because we want to be your friend. And thank you, and so don't forget to subscribe and find us on Twitter as well, and leave your story in the comments below. And there's probably a bunch of things I forgot to say, but just thank you, and I hope you have tons of spoons this week, and just have an awesome week. Okay, bye!